We all know the Qur'an was revealed in 7 Aruf meaning modes. According to one scholarly opinion there were 7 Aruf because there were 7 Arab tribes, Quraysh, Hudhail, Tamim, Hawazin, Thaqif, Kinana and Yemen, each with their own dialect at the time the Qur'an was revealed. Qira'at should not be confused with tajwid, the rules of pronunciation, intonation, and caesuras of the Qur'an. Each qira'ah has its own tajwid. Qira'at are called readings or recitations because the Qur'an was originally spread and passed down orally, and though there was a written text, it did not include most vowels or distinguish between many consonants, allowing for much variation. Qira'at now each have their own text in modern Arabic script. Qira'at are also sometimes confused with aruf, both being readings of the Qur'an with unbroken chains of transmission going back to the Prophet. There are multiple views on the nature of the aruf and how they relate to the qira'ah, the general view being that Caliph Uthman eliminated all of the aruf except one during the 7th century CE. The 10 qira'at were canonized by Islamic scholars in early centuries of Islam. There are 10 recognized schools of qira'at, each one deriving its name from a noted Qur'an reciter or reader, qari plural qarian or qara, such as Nafi, al-Madani, Ibn Kathir al-Makki, Abu Amr of Basra, Ibn Amir ad-Damashqi, Asim ibn Abi al-Najid, Hamza az-Zayyid, and al-Kissi. While these readers lived in the 2nd and 3rd century of Islam, the scholar who approved the first 7 qira'at, Abu Bakr ibn Mujahid, lived a century later, and the readings themselves have a chain of transmission like hadith going back to the time of Muhammad. Consequently, the readers qara who give their name to qira'at are part of a chain of transmission called a riwayah. Note 6. The lines of transmission passed down from a riwayah are called turuq, and those passed down from a turuq are called wujuh. According to Islamic belief, the Quran is recorded in the preserved tablet in heaven al-Law al-Mahfuz and was revealed to Muhammad by the angel Gabriel. Razm, also called consonantal skeleton, example in black, was the only script found in the earliest surviving fragments of the Quran. Most variations of the Quran that had different razm were found in Aruf variants. Ijam or Nukat al-Ijam, examples in red, was added in later Arabic, possibly around 700 CE 20, so that letters mostly consonants, such as these 5 letters ya, na, d, ta, ba, could be distinguished. Harakat or Nukat al-Arab, examples in blue, indicate other vocalizations, short vowels, nunization, glottal stops, long consonants. Variations among qira'at mostly involve harakat. Early manuscripts of the Quran did not use diacritics either for vowels harakat or to distinguish the different values of the razm ijam, or at least used them only sporadically and insufficiently to create a completely unambiguous text. Gradual steps were taken to improve the orthography of the Quran, in the 1st century with dots to distinguish similarly shaped consonants predecessors to ijam, followed by marks to indicate different vowels, like harakat, and nunation in different colored ink from the text Abul Aswad ad-Duali, not related to the colors used in the graphic to the right. Later the different colors were replaced with marks used in written Arabic today. Adam Bursi has cautioned that details of reports that diacritics were added at the direction of al-Hajjaj under Caliph Abd al-Malik ibn Marwan are a relatively late development, and that, while Abdul al-Malik and or al-Hajjaj do appear to have played a role in the evolution of the Quranic text, the initial introduction of diacritics into the text was not part of this process, and it is unclear what development in the usage of diacritics took place at their instigation. Manuscripts already used consonantal pointing sparingly, but at this time contain no evidence of the imposition of the kind of fully dotted scriptio plena that the historical sources suggest was al-Hajjaj's intended goal, although there is some manuscript evidence for the introduction of vowel markers into the Quran in this period. The Answering Islam site said, Abu Bakr instructed Zayd bin Thabit to collect the Quran. The compiled Quran was kept by Abu Bakr, may God be pleased with him, until he died, then by Umar bin Khattab, and when he died it was given to his daughter Hafsa, may God be pleased with her. During the time of Uthman, may God be pleased with him, differences in reading the Quran became obvious, and after consultation with the companions, Uthman had a standard copy made for edit. From the Suhuf pages of Abu Bakr, may God be pleased with him, that were with Hafsa, may God be pleased with her, the copy was prepared by Zayd bin Thabit, Abdullah, said, and Abdur Rahman Harith bin Hisham. Copies were made and distributed. 2 of these copies can today be found in the Topkapi Museum in Istanbul and in Tashkent. And don't forget we have both the Topkapi and Tashkent and can still be found today in the museum. Which means Marwan ibn Hakam didn't destroy all the manuscripts of Hafsa.
about Isaac, about Jacob, and the 12 tribes, that they were either Jews or Christians. Are you saying this? Versus Warsh is saying, someone else was saying, Am yaquluna, not taquluna, yaquluna. Someone else is saying this. So what's the benefit here?
The reason why the Qur'an of Hafs of Surah Al-Baqarah has different numbering system from Qur'an Warsh, because of the stopping signs looks different. The normal stopping of Hafs is different from Warsh. But though in Qur'an of Warsh you can stop or continue, but still doesn't change the meaning or the overall message. The claim in Qur'an Hafs was talking about people who say Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac and Jacob were Jews or Christians directly to people that were with the Prophet. While the Qur'an of Warsh was talking to people who say Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac and Jacob were Jews or Christians that were not with the Prophet, or the Jews and Christians themselves who claimed that they were Jews or Christians. And the word, they say, is also talking about the people of the past who claimed Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac and Jacob were Jews or Christians. Because you have to read the next verse for more understanding. Which means the word, they say, is talking about Jews and Christian who claimed, people of the past who claimed, and those who were not with the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. So both words are not contradicting each other, but both comprehend each other.
Surah 2, Ayah 10, you have Yaksibuna in Hafs, which says, in their hearts is a disease, and Allah increases their disease. A painful doom is theirs, because they lie. It's changed too.
Yukadhibun, meaning they accused others of lying.
So, significance, are they doomed because they lie, or because they accuse others of lying?
Al-Fadi translation is wrong. The word yukazibun with an emphasis on zal and dama on the ya, which means they deny, or meaning they deny the truth. Let's see what Tafsir al-Tabari about that verse. The statement on the interpretation of the words of Allah, the Most High, because they used to lie. The readers differed in the reading of that. The readers differed, and the readers is the plural of reader, and see what came before. Some of them read it, because they used to lie with a light dal and a fatha on the ya, and this is the reading of the great people of Kufa. Others read it, they used to deny, with a dama on the ya and a shadda on the zal, and this is the reading of the great people of Medina, he is in Basra. The reading of most of the people of Kufa, and the reading of most of the people of Medina, and most of the people, most of them and most of them. It is as if those who read that, with emphasis on the zal and dama on the ya, saw that God, may he be glorified and exalted, only made painful punishment obligatory for the hypocrites because they denied his prophet, may God bless him and grant him peace, and what he brought, and that lying, if not for denial, would not make even a small amount of punishment obligatory for anyone. Which means they used to deny the truth and they used to lie. No contradiction between this verse, is just Al-Fadi's lack of knowledge. Let's look at another difference in the Qur'an Surah 46 verse 16. Ad-Dori from Abi Amr. Those are the ones from whom the best of what they did will be accepted and their misdeeds will be overlooked, among the companions of paradise, the true promise which they were promised. Hafs from Asim. Those are the ones from whom we accept the best of what they did and overlook their misdeeds. They will be among the companions of paradise, the true promise which they were promised. Let's move to Tafsir at-Tabari. The statement in the interpretation of the words of Allah the Most High. Those are the ones from whom we accept the best of what they did and overlook their misdeeds, among the companions of paradise. The promise of truth which they were promised. Allah the Most High says, these are the ones who have this description, they are the ones from whom the best of what they did in this world of good deeds is accepted, so he rewards them for it and recompenses them for it. And overlook their misdeeds means, and he pardons them for the evil deeds that they did in this world, so he does not punish them for them. Among the companions of paradise means, we do that to them as we did to the companions of paradise and its people who are its people. As Yaqub bin Ibrahim told me, he said, Al-Mutamir bin Sulaiman told us, on the authority of Al-Hakam bin Aban, on the authority of Al-Ghatrif, on the authority of Habir bin Zayd, on the authority of Ibn Abbas, on the authority of the Prophet, may God bless him and grant him peace, on the authority of the trustworthy spirit Angel Jibril, he said, the good deeds and bad deeds of the servant will be brought, and some of them will be recompensed for others. If a good deed remains, God will make it spacious for him in paradise. He said, so I entered upon Yazid, and he narrated something similar to this hadith. He said, I said, what if the good deed is gone? He said, those are the ones from whom we accept the best of what they did and overlook their misdeeds. The verse. Ibn Hamid narrated to us, he said, Jarir narrated to us, on the authority of Layth, on the authority of Mujahid, he said, Abu Bakr called Umar, may God be pleased with them both, and said to him, I advise you to memorize it. God has a right at night that he does not accept during the day, and a right during the day that he does not accept during the night. No one has a voluntary act until he performs the obligatory act. The scales of those whose scales will be heavy on the day of resurrection will be heavy only because they followed the truth. In this world, and it is heavy for them, and it is right for a scale in which nothing but truth is placed to be heavy, and the scales of those whose scales are light on the day of resurrection will be light, because of their following falsehood in this world, and it is light for them, and it is right for a scale in which nothing but falsehood is placed to be light. Did you not see that Allah mentioned the people of paradise with their best deeds? So someone will say, how does my work compare to the work of these people? That is because Allah, the Almighty, overlooked their worst deeds and did not reveal them. Did you not see that Allah mentioned the people of hell with their worst deeds, so that someone will say, I am better in deeds than these people? That is because Allah returned their best deeds to them. Did you not see that Allah, the Almighty, revealed the verse of hardship with the verse of ease, and the verse of ease with the verse of hardship, so that the believer will be desirous and fearful, lest he throw himself into destruction, and he will not wish for a wish from Allah in which he wishes for something other than the truth. The reciters differed in their reading of his statement. Those are the ones from whom we accept the best of what they did and overlook. The majority of the reciters of Medina and Basra and some of the reciters of Kufa read it as Yutakbalu, meaning he accept, Yutajawazu, meaning he overlook, with a dhamma on the ya of both of them, without naming the subject, and raising Asanu, meaning best. The majority of the Kufan reciters read it as Natikbalu, meaning we accept, wa natajawazu, meaning we overlook, with the letter Nun, and the fatha, and the accusative of Asan, in the sense of God Almighty informing us about himself that he will do that to them, and in response to the statement of, and we have enjoined upon man, and we accept from them the best of what they have done and we overlook, and they are two well-known readings with correct meaning, so whichever one the reciter reads, he is correct. And his statement, the promise of truth which they were promised, he says, God promised them this promise, the promise of truth, there is no doubt that he will fulfill it for them, which they were promised in this world, God Almighty promised them. And he put the word, the promise of truth, in the accusative case because it is a verbal noun derived from his statement, we accept from them the best of what they did and overlook their misdeeds, and he only excluded from this statement the verbal noun of promise, because his statement, he accepts from them, and overlooks, is a promise from God to them, so he said, the promise of truth, in that sense. Which means both are correct and complement each other. Let's check another Qur'an variances. Hafs from Asim Surah 66 verse 12. Mary the daughter of Imran, who guarded her chastity, so we blew into her womb. From our spirit angel Gabriel, she believed in the words of her Lord, and his books, and she was one of the sincerely devout. Caliph from Hamza Surah 66, 12. Mary the daughter of Imran, who guarded her chastity, so we blew into her womb. From our spirit angel Gabriel, she believed in the words of her Lord, and his book, and she was one of the sincerely devout. Let's see the explanation for this. Tafsir al-Wasit, and his saying, the Most High, and she believed in the words of her Lord and his books and was of the devout, is an increase in her praise and commendation. That is, one of the characteristics of Mary, daughter of Imran, was that she truly believed in the words of her Lord, that is, in his laws that he legislated for his servants, and in what he conveyed to her of guidance through his revelation. And his books, that is, and she believed in his books that he sent down to his prophets. The majority read in his book in the singular, on the basis that what is meant by it is the type of books, or the gospel that he, the Most High, sent down to her son Jesus. Which means she believed in the former books, like the Torah given to Moses, Psalms given to David, and scrolls given to Abraham, and the gospel given to her son Jesus. Well, the plural is referring to all the books, while the singular is referring to the gospel given to her son Jesus. We have been talking about the variations between diacritical marks and vowel marks. Let's move to the added words. Hafs from Asim. Surah 57, 24. Those who are stingy and command people to be stingy and whoever turns away. Then indeed Allah, He is the free of need, the praiseworthy. Warsh from Nafi. Surah 57, 23. Those who are stingy and command people to be stingy and whoever turns away. Then indeed Allah is the free of need, the praiseworthy. Let's see Tafsir at Tabari. The reciters differed in their reading of his statement. Then Allah is the rich, the praiseworthy. The majority of the reciters of Medina read it as then Allah is the rich, deleting He from the sentence, and likewise in their copies of the Qur'an without He. The majority of the reciters of Kufa read it as then Allah, He is the rich, the praiseworthy, confirming He in the reading, and likewise He in their copies of the Qur'an. The correct view is that they are two well-known readings, so whichever one the reciter reads, he is correct. Let's move. Sheikh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. Majmu al-Fatawa Volume 13 page 211. Ibn Masud, may God be pleased with him, said anyone who disbelieves in it, a letter meaning the Qur'an, has disbelieved in all of it. And Sheikh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah gave examples of the variances. For the explanation for Surah 37 verse 12 about the amazement of Allah, check it in the description link. About Surah 10:22. And check Arabic 101 explanation for it.